August 8 and 9, 2012, the Caribbean Export Development Agency, in partnership with the African, Caribbean and Pacific Business Climate Facility and the UK Department for International Development, hosted the second CARIFORUM-EU Business Forum in London. Under the theme Making the CARIFORUM-EU Economic Partnership Agreement Work, the main objectives of the Business Forum were to create awareness about this agreement and to promote business opportunities within sectors that are readily positioned to do business in the EU.
The CARIFORUM-EU Business Forum, it's the second of its kind, is to bring together businesses from the CARIFORUM and from the EU to look at how we can make the EU Economic Partnership Agreement, CARIFORUM, work. How do we get it implemented in a way that will increase competitiveness and improve our entrepreneurs' ability to penetrate the market?
By taking the opportunity of the Olympic Games, this forum was designed to enhance the level of trade and investment between CARIFORUM states and the EU.
I think it's a good idea to take advantage of the presence of ministers and people doing business, some of whom are going to the game. It's a perfect opportunity. You have the media from the various countries of the world. You have business people. You have government ministers such as myself and others.
For us, it was a natural fit simply because of our relationship historically with the United Kingdom and the fact that we have one of the largest diasporas here. And so for us, the UK market and Europe was one natural fit to do a business forum. And following up on the study tours, it seemed advantageous to be able to place a forum here where we could bring together the best interests of the CARIFORUM and the EU to begin to make this EPA work. There are several options. The first thing is we have to get it implemented in our member states. One of the problems we have is that 8 of the 14 member states have yet to put in place the implementing legislation and actually, do what needs to be done in terms of doing the cutting of the tariffs that were agreed to from last year. The second thing, however, is that there are barriers to trade, particularly coming into the EU side. For the services, issues dealing with visas, access to the market for professional services, and then also in terms of standards and quality. The standards that the EU utilizes are to a great degree onerous for our small companies.
The success of this agreement hinges on its implementation, on what it delivers in practice. This is a trade and development partnership. And for us, it's very important that the agreement serves to boost growth across the region. How can it do that in concrete terms? Well, it fully opens the European market to goods from the Caribbean. It also offers Caribbean professionals the chance to supply services across the European Union. And it also commits Caribbean states to a range of trade-boosting measures in everything from innovation to competition. 165 million euros over between now and 2015, of which this Caribbean export event is a part.
First of all, I think for that to happen, the partnership has to be a real partnership. There has to be a quality engagement on issues that have mutual concerns to the parties. The EPA has dealt with a lot of the macro issues. We need now to drill down on the detail of these issues as to how is trade going to happen. And for that to happen, it requires a level of engagement beyond trade ministers with the private sector.
Unfortunately, many persons have taken a defeatist approach to say with this, but the amount of times I've heard that the Caribbean will die because of some agreement and it hasn't happened as yet. In the ideal world, we want to see where we find our competitive advantages and we trade in those. We're allowed to trade satisfactorily and efficiently without any kind of dumping. And we also want EU to find their competitive advantages and be able to trade with us. So if it is an equal ground upon which each person's capacity to produce is the one that will decide who will be consumed, then we would like to see that there. What we don't want to see is that those areas that we have a competitive advantage in, that there are certain underground government assistance, etc., within the Europe that will cause for us no longer to be competitive because of the blockages.
Our main opportunities lie in the area of agro-processing and manufacturing for high-end niche products, products that can go at a higher value added than the commodity level that we've been used to trading at. So for example, high-end coffee, high-end manufactured goods from beans, from nuts, from different oils, things that are unique to the Caribbean, but come in at the value chain at a higher level than they currently enter the market?
Well, the main opportunities, it's manufacturing or making products of higher value on our countries. We have good labor, cheap labor, but we have clear rules under the IPA that will help us do that. Not only tourism, not only rum, higher valued goods, higher valued services.
I'm struck by some of the amazing qualities of the region. They have extraordinary creativity for which they are renowned throughout the world.
I think we have a lot to bring to the table where originality and creativity on a whole is concerned. In Europe, our styles are very, not necessarily traditionally Caribbean-based, but we mix a lot of our traditional ideas with modern-day styles.
To me, the strength is in the creativity and talent of our people.
The young people that are coming through now are entrepreneurial, and they see things in a different way than the older, sort of more hidebound companies in the Caribbean. I think there's a lot of young blood and a lot of new creativity out there. I think we can do a lot with digital marketing that we're not doing. I think young people just will break through some of the barriers that maybe the more traditional minded people will not. So I'm optimistic.
We have to deal with the micro issues that make trade happen. Trade isn't a theoretical idea. It's very detailed. It's about details. It's about whether the ship arrives in the port on time, what are the conditions for importing products into Spain, France, the UK, what is the distribution network for distributing these goods, and can my people access?
The major weaknesses tend to be in the form of, one, the infrastructure to produce. We don't have the kind of standards and quality arrangements that we ought to have, and so we tend to meet barriers when we try to export because we haven't lived up to the SPS requirements of the export market. Those are one of the main areas. The second area is just in terms of labeling. That's another quality and standards issue.
What I think the tour did for me, it reinforced the fact that Caribbean designers are ready for the European market, although we have a few areas that we need to improve on. And one of those areas is marketing presentation, I should say. When I compared the marketing, the quality of marketing materials when we visited trade shows, we met with a few competitors. I think we need to work on the area where marketing presentation is concerned. So that's one area we have already gotten together, and that was a great benefit for us. It brought us together as Caribbean people because we're from different islands, so we don't always get the chance to meet each other. So it brought us together as Caribbean people to discuss our success stories, which we found a lot of, and even within Caribbean you don't get to talk to each other to hear these stories, and also our challenges and to come up with solutions.